As a self-proclaimed Raiden Shogun main, it's a bit odd that I have more videos on the channel showcasing Nilou than I do showcasing the Raiden Shogun. So today, we are not going to change that. This is going to be another video about Nilou. Back when Fontaine was still being released, we made a video showcasing how Nilou had become even stronger because of it, which was partially because of Furina, but also this domain, which gave us the Golden Troop set. In that last video, I was running this kind of a team, which of course allows us to do some pretty good damage with some vaporizes mixed in. But with the release of Natlan, we can now make Nilou even stronger. Let's go ahead and say goodbye to Xilonen and Jean, because we can bring on a new character known as Chilonin. And since Xilonen's burst is a heal that I should probably level up a little bit more, we can skip out on the Jean and instead bring on Kazuha. And to be clear, this is not just Xilonen, this is Xilonen with her signature weapon and her C2. And it's thanks to this C2 that Nilou gets an additional 45% HP. And then I'm pretty sure I don't need to explain the rest of what Xilonen does, as I'm confident that most of you already know that. She's basically like a second version of Kazuha. So with both of them on the same team, the buffing is going to be crazy. Not to mention, of course, that it's still a C2 Furina with them. And Natlan brought us a new artifact set, which has a description that is basically a short story in and of itself, but by putting that set on Xilonen, in addition to a viridescent Kazuha, and of course Furina, Nilou's DPS potential is sorta crazy, because she wields a sword. It's a sword pun. And yes, currently Furina is using Nilou's signature weapon and Nilou is using Furina's signature weapon because it's just better if I want a DPS Nilou. I don't care as much about Furina's personal damage here. Also, this sword just looks so much better on Nilou rather than her signature weapon. Of course, we are very free to play here. We got the crowned skill and burst, and our artifacts are 2-piece golden troop, 2-piece heart of depth, because we are focusing on skill damage. I'll quickly just run through the artifacts so you can see what's going on. We got some crit rate, crit damage, HP percent across the board, HP percent goblet because of all the buffing that we're doing. It is better than the hydro damage bonus. And then for the circlet, we got crit rate with crit damage. Now, because of Nilou C6, we want to hit 50,000 HP at least. But if we look here, we'll see that we have not quite reached that number. But do not worry, because it doesn't matter. As I pointed out earlier, Nilou gets an additional 45% HP when Xilonen uses her skill. And thanks to Furina's signature weapon, whenever anyone in the party increases or decreases their HP, Nilou's HP is going to be increased. So we may only be at 46,000 HP normally. But all we have to do is put down Furina's skill and then kick some enemies with our rollerblades, switch back to Nilou. Now we're at 57,000 HP. So we can then come in here to look at the stats, ignore the elemental mastery. We're not building for that. Although to be fair, we would get some free EM from the other characters that we're using. I should probably level up Kazuha's weapon, but our Nilou has a 93 to 300% crit ratio, and thanks to our buffing, an 80% hydro damage bonus. Of course, this is without Furina's burst or anything like that. Now, another benefit to not having Furina's damage as high as possible, since she's not using her signature weapon, is that her summons don't kill the enemy before I'm able to finish setting everything up, which is quite an issue in a lot of damage tests. But if we go through, set up everything, we can kind of just delete enemies. And since that was a full rotation, we now do get 102 free elemental mastery, and our hydro damage bonus goes up to 116%, which is why we're running an HP percent goblet. Now, like I mentioned, we haven't had enough Raiden Shogun representation on this channel, so let's bring this Nilou to fight the Raiden Shogun. This is a fight that I used to hate because it can take a while if you're not able to nuke her down right away, but thanks to this Nilou, that's no longer a problem for us, as we can take her out before she does anything. Now, like I mentioned, I probably should come in here and enhance this. It has genuinely been sitting unleveled for probably a couple years now. I'm also embarrassed to look at the level of some of his talents. And if you're wondering why his normal attack is leveled 10, crowned, but nothing else is leveled up, I used to run a physical Kazuha. Don't judge me. Okay, it was fun at the time, but now I'm able to run Hydro main DPS Nilou. And for the time being, his talents are now 10, 8, and 9. Oh my gosh, his artifacts aren't even leveled. I figure we will go ahead, try to fight Scaramouche, and the keyword is try, because I swear every time I've ever tried to do a damage test in here, something always goes wrong. Either I can't kill those electro things at the end that you have to get rid of, or I nuke him down too fast, where then I can't see the actual damage. Also, sometimes because of the way that his hitbox works, you don't see the damage even if you do it, because it appears either too high or too low. But first phase is a bit of a joke for Nilou. I think she was probably offended by the fact that he even made her do that. Let's see if we're able to take these things out. It's always kind of annoying, but I think we'll be fine here. I just need 3 more seconds for Kazuha's skill, which we are good. Grab these, shoot it up there, and now let's hope that we can actually see the damage. So, first things first. Furina, burst. We'll then get our heal going. We'll smack it up a bit, because why not? We'll use Kazuha's burst. He's gonna die. He's very much gonna die. Didn't get to see the big hit, but the second hit did like 87k. And obviously the third hit of Nilou's skill is the one that does the biggest damage. Who in here is a super tanky enemy? Obviously I can't fight the local legends in Fontaine because they are immune to Hydro. Although we do have local legends in Natlan. Now I have no idea if this person has some Hydro resistance, but I just want to get a sampling of what the 3 hits from Nilou's skill. Uh-oh. Yeah, didn't really want to start the fight yet, but I guess we're doing it. Okay, so, oh, her skill's not up yet. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna have to look at this footage because there are so many blue numbers, but I would say it is pretty good damage. Oh, and I get a free achievement for that. Okay, so this is actually very hard to tell. I've been watching this back a couple times. The first hit there was the 34k and then followed by a 46k, and then there's a bunch of blue, and the last hit does 91,050. Then we go again. I don't know if that 30,000 is from Nilou or Furina, but then we hit a 92,821. Then I think this is Nilou as well. And then 56 followed by the 92,000 again. So after watching this back for a bit and averaging out the damage that I could make out, it seems like the first hit usually did about 34,000, the second about 56,000, and the final hit about 92,000. Again, I don't know the resistances of this enemy because I couldn't find it anywhere, but adding those together, we get 182,000 damage. But of course, Nilou gets to do this 6 times during her skill's duration for a total of 1,092,000 damage. Now I am going to try my luck at the PMA. I'm trying to save as much as I can, and now we can go in for the damage. We get this up, we get this up, and we do our rotation. Okay, over 100,000, very nice. Once again, we are back to try and observe damage. I think the 37,000 is from Nilou here. Then the next hit is the 59,000, followed by the last hit of 103,000. But we did get a second rotation where this, I think the first hit did 56,000 that time, followed by a 65,000, and the final hit was the 110,000. So taking the damage from both of those skill rotations and averaging them out, we get a total of 215,000 damage. Again, we can multiply that by 6, which would give us 1.29 million damage. I would say that's pretty good. I've not tested these teams on this rotation of the Spiral Abyss, but let's see if Nilou can do it. And both of these are great cards. I'm gonna take the crit because now Nilou basically cannot miss a crit. First up is this idiot. All my homies hate this guy, and I think it probably has Hydro resistance, which I guess doesn't matter because it's dead already. And we have Tweedledee and Tweedledum, which we're able to punch through without even setting up our buffs again. Second side, very easy. And of course I have to show it because it's the Raiden Shogun. For Chamber 2, I guess we will be taking Elemental Burst damage. And let's see how we do here. Obviously, we're going to go through and set up all of our basic rotations. And just for fun, we'll throw up the Burst this time, which does hit for quite a bit of damage. Then we have this. I should learn the names of these enemies. I really should. But since the enemies annoy me, why give them the satisfaction? This guy is not really a problem for Nilou. Although I neglected to remember that this dude is flying and I did not bring any bow characters. Stop running from me. Okay, well, I kind of fumbled on the second half. Also, who decided that Cheverus's shots wouldn't be able to take it down? I would like to have a word with you, but you know what? Because of how strong our Nilou team was, I had enough time to still get 3 stars. For the final chamber, I guess we're taking energy recharge, and let's get straight into it. We'll put up Furina's burst, followed by Xilonen, followed by Kazu, little Kazuha E into Nilou burst for some damage, and then we just delete those guys. Who's left? You. Oh, you're it? Okay. that really shouldn't be too much of a problem for us. The only nuisance is that his pet keeps running away, so it's harder to hit. Oh, it's dead. And this should just be free. This is an overload team with Raiden, Shogun, and Shevers versus a Hydro boss. Pretty sure if you look up the word free in the dictionary, this is what comes up. So there we go. A nice 36 stars. This is why I always love seeing the comments whenever I end up doing a live stream or a video where Nilou appears and people tell me, you built her so wrong, where's the EM? What they fail to understand is this is so right. I'm just gonna say this because I'm sure someone else, at least one person, is going to point this out. The maximum highest damage that we are seeing from Nilou now is technically less than what we saw in the previous video that we made when Fontaine was giving us a bunch of stuff to make Nilou stronger. And that is because back then, we were running a vaporized team, as I stated earlier. Now, oh. That thing just got deleted. The difference is that I never actually run a vaporized team when I'm playing with Nilou, because vaporizing with Nilou is not the most consistent, especially if you're playing with Furina on the same team. So if I want to see the most consistent large damage, it's better to run a team like this. Or another way of putting it is that this team is insanely easy to use, practically to the point of being brain dead, which is perfect for me because I essentially don't have a brain. I mean, there's like no way that you can mess up this rotation, and I don't have to worry about what elements I apply when. I can just throw up all the bursts and skills, switch to Nilou, and then start doing big damage. And this is perfect because I can't actually kill him here, so we get to see a lot of damage. Although he also has Hydro resistance because he's half Hydro this time. Also, really quick, I figure I should answer the question of, is C6 Nilou really worth it? Like, was it a mistake? And what I would say is, for an average normal person, a normal human being, I absolutely would not recommend getting this. You do not need a C6 Nilou for pretty much anything. Is it fun? Yes, that's why I use it. But also, I make videos on this game, and I pulled for the C6 in a live stream and have made like 3 or 4 videos using said C6. So I have already made my money back for what I spent on the C6 Nilou. Also, we got very lucky on those pulls when we did them. And I mean, if you just want a strong Hydro DPS, you know, get Mualani, and you can nuke things so much faster than Nilou can. And you really don't even need constellations for it. I think the reason why I play Nilou so much is because I like her playstyle. It's very easy. I don't have to worry about charged attacks or stamina. I click E and then spam left attack. Not to say I don't like some sort of strategy and skill in the combat, but when you have to farm the same domain over and over and over and over and over, it's kind of nice to just not have to think whatsoever. And I'm just saying, this is probably not going to be the last C6 Nilou video on the channel, because as the game progresses, more things come out to make her even stronger. At least power creep in this game is nowhere near as bad as it is in Star Rail. All right, I don't think you guys need to watch me just steamroll through every single enemy in the game, although it is quite satisfying for me. I just like wacky builds, and I think a Hydro main DPS Nilou is quite a wacky build. With that being said, I hope you all did enjoy, and as always, I will see you all next time.